Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, September 14th, and we have developed this system apparently now where we're just pushing off daily quests. It seems like we've been doing this for about 2 weeks now, where Fridays have ended up being the longest time to stream, which doesn't make a lot of sense, honestly. We also have a pretty big chunk of news to line up with these daily quests, but I don't know how you fix that. I guess it is one condition is racing, the other condition is racing the other condition. Perhaps if I left some news over the weekend and talked about it on Monday, then I would have more news to talk about, and thus I would continue to get everything done on Monday, and we'd have longer Monday streams, which is the right way to do things. As for today, we've got some overlap here with Warrior and 2 victories, so we might be able to get a lot of this done. I'm pretty sure we've already done the Tavern Brawl. Yeah. That ends, you get about 1 Tavern Brawl, I guess, every week now, which that may have always been the case. I haven't paid enough attention. I'm happy to say that even though I screwed up uninstalling the Windows 10 April update, right now at least I'm okay with it. Like, all I have to do is just keep postponing the Windows 10 April update until I can finish Dead Space 2. I haven't had any lockups, and I was able to record a couple hours of footage yesterday, which is a pathetically small amount of time. Honestly, I don't know what I've gonna do. Like, I think we're gonna have to lose one more time slot starting in 2019. I think it's gonna be Hearthstone, AAA, and one something. Whether it's a point-and-click adventure, whether it's a Telltale game, there aren't that many Telltale games left, or whether it's a kid's game. I don't think that there's going to be... I guess all of these are the cards you'd want. Let's see. I don't even know what cards I'm supposed to play in this. I have to look back and see. This is supposedly a quest warrior, but I don't have the quest. So the quest probably is gain a bunch of armor, and I don't have it. So the strategy is probably insanely out of place. Okay. Play this, and then play this, and then play this, and then we could get a bunch of armor. I guess that might be the strategy. Yeah. It really just boils down to a lack of motivation and a lack of energy, and it's more energy than anything else. I spent most of yesterday messing around with Wi-Fi settings, just trying to ensure that I could get as much of a high-speed connection as possible via Wi-Fi, which there's definitely some craziness on just like speed being reduced based on the distance and placement of the router, plus a whole bunch of other settings. So yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. Man, this really would be a good deck if I just had that card. If I just had the quest card, the legendary quest card, and gaining all this armor would make sense at that point. But I did make some progress on Dead Space. I'm noticing on Dead Space 2 that it doesn't seem like there's really any boss fights. like the first game. And the first game wasn't super heavy in boss fights either, but there was definitely at least 2 points where you would run into a necromorph that was way bigger and more unique, and one entire chapter of the game you were fighting against a basically immortal necromorph that you could not defeat no matter what. And that's just not in this game. So I wonder if it is a simple case of the
free me, run for it.
There being a secondary team that made the boss fights in Dead Space 1, and Visceral Games just did not rehire or hire a secondary team to make boss fights in Dead Space 2. So even the transition from like Dead Space 1 to Dead Space 2 is pretty... It's subtle, but it is there. There definitely was some major differences, particularly with the DLC. Like, playing the Steam version that includes all the DLC except for Survival DLC, which was a console exclusive, and I think the Survival DLC, at least in part, is playing as this female character who comes into play as kind of a prequel experience. Even like it's not a good way to implement DLC with the weapons, because you start the game with way too powerful weapons and way too much armor, and it makes the main game have to be way too difficult for the DLC to make any sense. Now I am at I think chapter 9 right now, and there's probably 12 chapters, so it's taken them a long time to get to this point, but I certainly have hit the point where I just don't have enough bullets. I was able to fully upgrade my main gun to do all the damage in the world, but I just don't have enough bullets, and most enemies still take 2 shots on a gun that only holds 20. On the other hand, I would say the layout of the encounters within Necromorphs in Dead Space is very good. Very much like Resident Evil 4. Dead Space 2 and 1 basically is Resident Evil 4 in space with Necromorphs instead of zombies, where they're thinking the same thing. Although I guess there's not any real keys and no grenades and no flashbangs, and so there's definitely a lot of things that I think had they continued with the Dead Space series, they could have continued to rip off Dead Space in some different directions.
Our witch shall never end. Our witch shall never end.
Let's see. 2 damage, 2 damage. And that. And what does this guy do? Restores 4 health to the hero. So I can kill it. So yeah, with any luck, over the weekend I'll finish Dead Space 2, and then I've got some more scheduling to do and some more of the Boomsday puzzles to schedule and upload. But it is September 14th, so we're halfway through September, and I'm just barely uploading things that are supposed to air on October. If I had half a brain in my head, I would just say November would be the right time to stop airing some things. But I kind of don't want to do that. That was the wrong move. Because if I had just played this, and this,
Two arms. Two arms.
Let's see, what does this one do? Also damages the minion next to it. Okay. That worked rather nicely. Then just end the turn. What else is going on? Not really a lot, so it's time to move on to the news. Black Mirror just aired on my channel, Black Mirror 2. Got a new subscriber. Thanks for that, of course. As always. But I have been noticing that the last stream, which screwed up because of my computer locking up because of Windows 10, the stream got split into 2 streams, and both of those streams really combined only had maybe 15-25 views. So I feel like now that school has gotten back into session, the number of views on my channel that I was for a very brief second getting some good views, I think that those are gone. Let's see. So what do I want to do? If I play this once, I guess we play this. Okay. And then we'll play this. And we'll play that, certainly. It's not a card you would particularly want to have in your collection, but it is a card I'm more than willing to discover. Okay, so we have a game on Steam that I don't believe is even in English, so let's start with that. Yeah, it's only in simplified Chinese. It's a bunch of Chinese characters, and it says Wushu Chronicles. It's 30% positive of 220 reviews. Definitely looks like it's a Warriors series type of game clone. So like it, but clearly it does not play well, at least on PC. Also, it's not in English, so we can just ignore that. The floodgates, I will warn, seem to have been open. So there's going to be a lot of Chinese games and a lot of, well, sex games that are out on Steam today, so... And I imagine that there will be a little bit of a bump, and then it will fall down a little bit, but probably not too much. And so I may have to start using more discretion about talking about games. I listened to one of the co-optional podcasts, and they did try to talk about new releases, but they're not really going down the list or anything. So that
Speak to me.
and that and that in the turn. Gematsu has an article, Tale of the Fragmented Star, single fragment version coming to the West soon. So let's see. So this is a PlayStation VR game that's gonna come to the West. I've never heard of Tale of the Fragmented Star, and it looks like a fantasy elf girl. I imagine, since this is a PlayStation VR character, that there's not much you can do. It seems like you're just standing on a small moon and there's only a few items that you could interact with at all. Or maybe this elf girl is building something on this moon? That might be where you get the name Tale from a Fragmented Star. So I need like 1 more victory and 11 more warrior things to play. Yeah, this game doesn't look like it's engaging enough, or nor does it feel like it's part of a series. So we can move on from that. Here's a game that's probably not worth talking about. RTX 2080 Ti mining clicker, which is just a clicker game where you're clicking on a cheaply made MS Paint version of a graphics card, which honestly this is probably not what the 2080 Ti will look like anyways, because it only has 1 fan on it. And it's just a really bad looking MS Paint clicker game. 40% off for 59 cents. At least we're getting back to that low price for these extremely low effort games. Let's see. Deal 2 damage to a minion. I'm just going to end my turn here and save the coin. Komatsu has a article. Square Enix announces TGS 2018 lineup update 2. So let's see what the updates are. It's probably just more games that are going to be announced. Let's see. The Last Remnant Remastered was added in the 2nd update. In the 1st update, Chocobo, Mystery Dungeons Everybody, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered, and World of Final Fantasy Max. Honestly, particularly when I think about just how unhelpful doing E3 was and making these long lists of games that came out, having a list of games to expect to be talked about at TGS is actually not something that interests me. And now that I'm saying this out loud, it really does imply I should probably next year, while I do still want to stream E3 and listen to it, I think I'm going to take a much more relaxed approach to it and not really try to have long recap sections there. Like I feel like that was probably a waste of energy. During E3 we had this long list of just like expected games to be talked about, games that were talked about after each stream, and it's like, oh, well, either people are gonna watch the stream and see the video and the audio elements of that, or they're not. So if people don't care, which is probably the right response, then there is a good point to just not do that. Let's see. We have a game on Steam called Battle X, which I think I might go into a small bit of a rant. What in the world was that card? Whenever you shuffle this card into your shuffle your card, gain an extra copy. He has 48 cards. How in the world did he do that? Whenever you shuffle a deck into your card, shuffle, gain an extra copy. Oh, so if you have all of these on the field, and then you shuffled your entire hand. I have no idea what he's trying to do right now. Let's see, let's do this.
Nice little raptors.
And then this.
Well
and then
played.
in the turn. Yeah, but I think I might go into a bit of a rant of how naming your game could be a sign alone that it's a extremely low effort game. If you're just gonna call your game Battle X, for example, and the description is you will play as Marcus and save the world, that's not great. And what's funny here is that this doesn't look bad particularly. It kind of looks like it's a first-person shooter of some sort. But I imagine this is just asset flips. All over. It seems like the camera is moving all over the place in this trailer.
What now?
Like, I would be very understanding if it turned out that if somebody fell for this game, Battle.X, like, and thought it was a good game. It looks like a good game, but I know it isn't. It's a VR only game, by the way. It's $19.99.
The blade be thirsty.
It's also from a developer who's made nothing else. Like, even if you do all this asset flips and you make it look really pretty, which you kind of have to do for a VR game, you gotta put some effort into the writing and the naming. And so, even though this, by my old standards, Battle.X would have been like, oh yeah, if I had VR, I'd put this on my wish list. I think I need to raise my standards and say, geez, if you can't even name your game something interesting, I'm going to, I have to ignore it. Alright. Let's, so we could do 3 damage and kill a bunch of things, or we could do this. PC Gamer has an article. Resonance of Fate for PC appears on the German classification site 8 years after its launch on consoles. So, Resonance of Fate was a 2010 JRPG game. Let's see, let's look at the trailer. I do not recall this game at all. It's from Sega, at least as a publisher. There certainly was a much longer list in the old days of games that were JRPGs that they had very much hoped would have become big deal things, and that just didn't ever work. Seems like it's a action, real-time JRPG with characters with guns and running around and shooting and doing combos. It looks very high action. There's probably just a lot of visual appeal put on it, or spinning in the air, doing Matrix style moves.
Give me a quest.
Maybe I just barely remember this game. They're describing it as Valkyrie Chronicles meets John Woo. So if it comes out to PC and it's really cheap, and it might be a standalone JRPG that arguably maybe you want to do a standalone JRPG instead of going into the deep end and committing to playing 3 extremely long Final Fantasy games. Although I'm not sure, like, how many JRPGs can I have in a year on my channel? Like, I honestly feel like it's probably 1 at most. If I look back to the 2 or 3 years I've been doing this YouTube channel, I'm not sure I've played any JRPGs for that reason. So yeah, Witcher 3 was an RPG, but not a JRPG. So yeah, I don't think I've played any, and that's pretty typical. I don't think I've really, even before I started streaming and being a video game critic, spent a ton of time playing JRPGs. JRPGs certainly are for people who have more time than money, and with Steam sales and such, that's just not really an issue. Let's see, what does this do? This would destroy his weapon, but his weapon is worse right now than what I would be giving him. There we go. So yeah, I'll be interested to see if it actually comes out on PC and what price and what the reviews on that would be. If I was to play something like Resonance of Fate, where it's running around doing John Woo and Matrix style jumping and shooting, then I'm not sure there's much of a connection there between playing that type of game and saying playing something from the Tales series or you know, Dragon's Quest. Dragon's Quest would be a much different experience. Let's see.
Nice little raptors. Well played.
Free me!
Hit that. Alright, we've got a game on Steam that's called ROT2, R-O-T-2. It's lowercase r, capital O, lowercase t, space the number 2. The thumbnail for the game does not look like it spells rot at all. It's very stylized in the way it's spelling. It looks like it's a very simplistic single screen Unity game. It doesn't even look like it's full widescreen in its abilities. It has like 4 achievements. It's 25% off for 74 cents. The only real question I have is, looking at this developer, did they make ROT 1? And yes, they did. They made it on March 1st, 2018. It's 90% positive with 10 user reviews for 99 cents, and here they've already got the sequel out. I think the time in between releases also are some indications that should be considered about whether I would classify something as an extremely low effort game. Like, if you have made a game and you want to sell it for 99 cents, and then you've already got plans in less than 12 months to release a sequel, no, that's not acceptable. It really isn't. You need to put all your effort into your first presentation, because you only get one first impression at any point or in any activity in life. So you want to over deliver in your first release, not try and nickel and dime people. This is certainly, 2018 isn't the year of dime rags or penny novels or anything like that, where you get relatively short stories. I don't really have a reason for doing that other than I'm just playing cards. Yeah, I'm really just trying to play cards right now. What was that? What did I just do that caused that to explode? What did I click on? I don't think I clicked on anything and this just exploded. Does this just randomly explode every now and then on rare occasions?
Only a fool rejects the Lich King.
Okay, moving on, I guess. We have a Steam game called Jisei. I guess that's how you pronounce it. J-I-S-E-I. They say it's a murder mystery visual novel. Use your psychic powers to track down a killer and prove your innocence. It's tagged indie adventure. And... Animation looks a little low quality. Yeah, so this is a Western animator, I would say, trying to kind of ape the anime style without doing anime styled characters. I don't know how you better explain that.
Nice little raptors.
What I'm trying to say there is that it tries to draw like an anime character, but then tries to draw them as a fully grown, taller, stalker character, where most anime characters are drawn as super short, like young looking characters that aren't very human. So maybe I should just boil that down to a human style, normal human style. GSA is $5.99. It has 2 achievements. It says it has full audio in English and no other language support. So if the graphics were a little bit better, I might be willing to consider it. This is from a company that also on the exact same day released a game called Kansei and Yosei, and they have something from August 23rd, 2016 called Backstage Pass that's 91% positive of 151 user reviews. But let's see. Looking at Backstage Pass, it seems like the animation style is better, and they've gotten worse over time. And what can I say? They're definitely flooding Steam with multiple copies. Let's see, what do we want? Battlecry adapt for 1 damage. Next turn. Let's see. Kansei's description is a murder mystery visual novel. Use your psychic powers to uncover the secrets and hunt down a murderer. And yeah, I just don't get this. It seems like in the screenshots that it's telling a different story, but it seems like what they did is they had some writer write 3 different stories, or write the same story in 3 different ways. I don't remember, but I think Josei, Yosei, and Kansei mean something in Japanese, but I'm not sure what they are. Like, it might be that they mean older person's novel. Like, Yosei might be an older woman's novel, Kansei might be an older teenager's novel, and Josei might be an older man's novel. But I'm really stretching to even assume that that's what that means, because I could totally be wrong about that. We have Larry on the chat, came on a couple minutes ago and said good luck. Thank you, Larry. Although I don't even really think I need any luck here. So the third game by this developer, released on the exact same day, is called Yosei, which is described as a murder mystery visual novel. Dig into the history as you chase down a murderer. And the fact that this is allegedly full audio in English, and that's the description, makes me really wonder if this is like some cheap Chinese company has licensed their games to a third-party company, and they have sold it under a different name. Let's see. You know what I could do is I could Google search Yosei. Let's see. Yosei, according to Wikipedia, is a Japanese word that generally is synonymous with the term fairy. Okay. So if that's what Yosei is, then... So one of the games is called Fairy.
Job's done.
In the turn. Okay, so what is Kansei mean? Kansei is a Japanese. Let's see. Kansei was a Japanese era name before the Tenmei and Koiwa period. Well, after Tenmei and before Koiwa. So, did they just really pick a bunch of Japanese sounding words that really have no meaning? That certainly would explain why I'm not understanding these words, since I have at least a anime fanatics understanding of the Japanese language. And let's see. There is a specific type of haiku called jisei, or death poem. So yeah, they just picked 3 random words in Japanese, which you wouldn't do that unless you were English speaking in the first place, because that's not like that would be a Japanese pun or anything or make any sense. Interesting. So I have no idea what that company is doing, other than filling Steam with garbage. Hey, I've lost. They found a way to get rid of all my cards, so unless this guy would run out of 35 cards, I am out. But that's all I wanted to do was play cards anyway, so there's no reason to keep playing. PC Gamer has an article. Katamari Damacy Rerolled will release for PC this December. It's an HD remaster of ye old PlayStation 2 exclusive. So this is the first Katamari Damacy game coming to PC, which would be the very good first step if they were going to release all of them, which is, hopefully it sells well enough that they would consider doing that. They've already made the commitment to putting it on PC, and that does put us in a nice position, because I would love to cover the Katamari Damacy series, and if the game is not too expensive being a re-release or an HD remaster, that would be a new path to start. We have a game on Steam called What Would Google Say? It's from a troll developer that I recognize their games, their developer name. Troll developer, like achievement creator, clicker achievements, possible challenge, and several others. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said about this troll game other than it's 15% off in it for $1.69. We have a game called Bombjour, B-O-M-B-J-O-U-R. It says blow up buildings like never before. This is probably... Wow. Are they really going to give me enough weapons to keep on playing? I seriously doubt that they would continuously let me have weapons to, like, I'm gonna take 5 fatigue. At your turn, summon a random minion equal to the number of armor you have. Update.
The Brotherhood shall not fail.
Well played.
Job's done.
Let's just keep on playing. Bomb Drawer. It looks like an asset flip game. It says it's early access. It's $12.99. Let's see if this developer's made anything else. No, they haven't. So, in an effort to speed things up, I'm not going to say anything more about that game. The floodgates are open, like I said earlier, as far as games on Steam. So, there definitely seems like there's a level of poor quality games that we're going to cover. GameIndustry.biz has an article. PlayStation is the third most recognized brand in the UK. Nintendo was at 11 according to the survey, and Xbox was at 17. Apple takes the top spot. So who is the second spot? Like Coca-Cola or something? Maybe Amazon? That does definitely show that if you're in the UK and you're a uninformed parent, you are slightly higher and more likely to say, let's get this kid a PlayStation, than you are to say, let's get this kid a Nintendo or let's get this kid an Xbox.
Choose soon.
I'm not super surprised by that. I would say that the UK tries to enjoy a middle ground between what you would call Western developers, even though the UK is Western still. It's a little bit more Eastern than I would say the hyper-conservative United States is with things that are acceptable in video games. So. Or the hyper gun focused and aggressiveness that is also a thing that you could say is prevalent in United States facing. We can win any game here, so let's pick something different to play. Do Warlock? Murloc. Let's try Murloc. So yeah, I could see more people having grown up with PlayStations, particularly the PlayStation 2, than, say, an Xbox original. Which the Xbox original, the first Xbox, was definitely a flop in everywhere except for the United States, basically. And it really wasn't until the 360 came out and gained that player base, and that was just Microsoft pouring money into advertising it, and I'm surprised they even succeeded even at that. We've got a game on Steam called Scarf, S-C-A-R-F. It says, strut your stuff in this procedurally generated roguelike fashion simulator. Interesting. Craft clothing, win pieces from your rivals, and challenge the best at the end of season fashion showdown. Do you have what it takes for the best lineup? This is an interesting description because it's basically Pokemon with fashion, but when I look at the graphics, sadly, it's an MS Paint level, just super zoomed in, low pixel count items. So you're seeing very square, blocky things that look like they're 8x8 pixels. So the idea, not a bad one. The implementation, awful. And to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of Pokemon fashion game that comes out eventually, because, you know, Pokemon's got their own little fashion style that they've been pushing, that they've been doing from the beginning.
Reporting for duty.
Scarf is the first game from this developer. It's 15% off for $4.24. Really expensive. Really, really expensive considering how horrible it looks. Like, when it comes to graphics, I've probably said something similar many times, but I'm willing to overlook bad graphics on old games that are historically important and have a reason to still be played, or people might have nostalgia from it. A great example is the original version of like Myst, which looks pretty awful, and thank goodness they upgraded those. But I'm certainly not willing to give that same bit of leeway to developers nowadays who should know better and should definitely be capable of doing better. A lot of the graphics were bad in old games because they were on floppy disks, they were on CD-ROMs, there just was not enough space on whatever cartridge or diskette that the game was coming on to show better graphics. Otherwise, they would have looked better. That's just not the case now on Steam. It's digital distribution. In fact, it's so good on Steam that even if you were a poor game developer who could animate things to look very pretty, but couldn't afford to have so many people download that from your servers, that's not a problem. Steam handles the distribution, so all you'd have to do is upload your game file to Steam, which you have to do anyways, one time, and after that one time, every single download comes from Steam servers. So yeah, there's really no excuse for bad graphics. It's just laziness. PC Gamer has an article, GeForce RTX 2080 and RTX 2080 Ti unboxed. The subtitle is, "These beautiful graphics cards are just waiting to be punished with benchmarks." I believe this is an article literally just talking about the boxes and opening them. And looking at the 2080 Ti, it does have 2 fans on it. Let's see, is there a picture of anything that... No, I don't see anything that would imply it just has 1 fan in any of the pictures. We hope, of course, I always hope that these... Let's see, if I play this and then do this. Wind Fury. If I give Wind Fury, does anything survive? No. So, plus attack. Hit this one. Then hit this one. That. And win. And see, we're not anywhere close, are we, to the end of the recording? No, actually, I think... What? How is this? We got 8 minutes more. Alright. So we might run into an issue here where there's... like, since there's no more things to do on the Americas account, let's switch over to the European account. We might run into an issue where I get all the data quests done and there's still tons of news to talk about, which I don't think would be too big of a deal. I'm looking at a game called Impossible VR Ninja, and it has a terrible thumbnail, and this... It looks like what they're trying to sell is some half-finished game. They say it's early access, requires VR. It's free to play, so at least the price is right. but I want to re-roll anything. No, I should leave everything alone. I should play as the Druid or Hunter right now and try and get a victory, and then just play a bunch of Shaman cards. So I'll take Death Rattle Hunter. If anything, I should play ranked in the European account and get up to rank 20. I'm already at rank 20 on the Americas account. Yeah, this game Impossible Hunter looks like garbage. Moving on. Tech Raptor has an article. Battlefield 5 feels like a movie with a slapdash fashion sense. Let's see if this scrolls down in this article to give a review to Battlefield 5, which I don't think Battlefield 5, any kind of embargo or anything has happened yet. They're just doing the beta. So, yeah. Let's see what this last paragraph says. It says, DICE must realize that they're sitting on a figurative gold mine here, though, and all they have to do is take advantage of the notion that they're quite possibly one of the few developers with the potential to deliver a mildly authentic World War II experience that embodies the meaning of a world war. Okay, the paragraph before that says, ultimately the deciding factor is whether or not you enjoy Battlefield 5 will be your ability to stomach seeing some radly odd-looking soldiers. Alternatively, it could depend on just how much EA and DICE are willing to double down on weird customization options. Barring any major or unannounced changes from the beta to the release, which doesn't seem likely, what you see is in the beta is in the beta going to be what you get. That was an awkwardly written sentence.
Ooh, I wonder what this does.
The core gameplay is more or less what you can expect from a Battlefield game. It's above average, but everything around it, cosmetics and unlockable perks, feel like ideas torn straight from generic free-to-play games. For what it's worth, the main menu music in the beta is stellar, if you care to sit around and listen to it, that is. So, this article is showing some concern with just the customization options and potential free-to-playness of let's see, what can we do here? I should play something like this.
Access denied.
Then play this, and then return. Yeah, I really don't have a lot of feeling that Battlefield 5 is going to be a stellar release at this now. I think it's just going to come out with a whimper, and that's going to be it. And in the end, they very possibly are setting themselves up in a way so that they can blame fans for not being interested in playing the game. So if and when Battlefield 5 doesn't succeed, I think that they will come out and say, well, it's the fans' fault. It's not because we put a bunch of free-to-play trappings in our World War II game, or we made a game that allegedly is known for being authentic, less authentic. Like, there's a lot of blame games certainly going around in a lot of these controversies that are happening. Right, so if I do this and
What is my purpose?
I hunt alone.
I didn't play well. I meant to play this and then put this on this, so it would have been a 3-6 and been able to attack that, but whatever. Techcrafter has an article, Coverage Club King No Thing. I don't know what this is. Let's see. Coverage clubs from Techcrafter are usually when they cover small, kind of unimportant games. So one of the games they're covering is called Weakwood Throne, which is available via Steam, and then the other one is called No Thing. Neither one of these games look interesting enough visually.
Well fought. I concede.
So yeah, Coverage Club's not worth really mentioning because they're hardly even endorsements of games that would interest me to play. Then we have a game on Steam called Monkey King Master of the Clouds, which, boy, this looks like an NES version of a Chinese Monkey King game. So let's see, it's only in English. Interesting. It says it's a huge Japanese coin-op hit developed by Hot-B in 1989. The game was later renamed Cloud Master and released outside of Japan on the Sega Master System. It subsequently appeared on the NES and PC Engine. This upgraded release of the original arcade version includes HD-ready elements by developer Starfish SD, the company formed by the original Hot-B development team. Interesting thought. This is a game that I think might have some small historical importance, so I put it in my wish list, but this is also a game that it's a side scrolling flying around shoot 'em up game from the NES era, so I probably wouldn't actually do anything more than a spotlight for this game. This is actually the first game on Steam by this developer, and the publisher, on the other hand, is known for publishing some pretty old games. So this is like a retro release, which you don't see too many retro releases. So I could go into one more game and we could play Shaman cards, or I could just end it here. And I think we're going to end up having an oddly short experience. So I'm going to just end it here for this recording. So as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.